Welcome back. We are officially in the double digits today. This is our 10th session breaking down Wallace D. Wattles' classic, The Science of Getting Rich.
10th session. It's been quite a journey.
It really has. And, if you've been with us for the last 9, you've pretty much built a whole new operating system for your mind. We've gone through the right to be rich, thought as a creative substance, gratitude, acting in the now.
It's a massive framework. I mean, if you think of it like building a high-performance car, the first 9 sessions were all about engineering the engine, putting the wheels on, filling the tank.
Yeah, we know how the car works. We know how to turn the key.
Exactly. We know how to start it.
But today, the whole tone just shifts, doesn't it? If everything before was, the offense, how to move forward, how to score, this session feels like it's all about defense.
It is. Wattles really pivots here. He stops telling us what to start doing and gives this very strict list of things we absolutely have to stop doing immediately.
It's a crucial pivot, I think, because you can have the perfect vision, you can have all the faith in the world, you can be acting every single day.
But if you let these little mental habits creep in, these traps in how we speak or think, it's like you can just blow up the engine you just so carefully built.
He seems so much stricter in this part of the book. It's like he's throwing down yellow cards, maybe even a red card or two.
He is. He calls them cautions. And, I think for us today, the word caution can sound a little bit like fear, like watch out.
Right.
But his intent is actually the opposite. It's all about maintaining a high-performance mindset. It's about keeping your mental garden free of weeds so the good stuff can actually grow.
I like that. Weeds in the mental garden.
You can plant a prize-winning rose, but if you let weeds and kudzu grow all over it, the rose is just going to die. So today is all about pulling the weeds.
So we're going to look at how to guard our speech, how to look at things like the economy without, freaking out, which feels very relevant. And maybe the most important part, checking our own motives. Because apparently wanting to get rich so you can just boss people around is a one-way ticket to failure in the system.
It's the fastest way to get kicked off the creative plane, as he would say.
All right. Lots to get into. This is the defense strategy that protects everything else we've built. But before we get into the weeds, or rather pulling them, just a quick note. If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
So let's unpack this whole idea of defense. Why do you think Wattles, who is always so focused on the positive, on creation, why does he feel the need to just pause everything and spend a whole section on what not to do?
Well, I think it's just human nature, isn't it? We can be so focused and grateful for, say, 23 hours a day, but then that 1 hour scrolling through bad news or, complaining to a friend, it feels like it just undoes so much of the good work.
That's precisely the mechanism. It's about the consistency of the signal you're sending. Remember, the whole idea is that we're impressing our thoughts on this formless, responsive substance.
The universe, or whatever you want to call it.
Right. So if you send a clear signal of growth and abundance for a week, and then you spend 2 days just blasting out signals of fear and lack and criticism, you're basically canceling your own order. You're jamming the frequency.
It's like writing code. You can have 1,000 perfect lines, but one little syntax error can crash the whole program.
That is a perfect analogy. These cautions are the syntax errors. And the very first one he gives us, and this is a really hard one for most people, was about how we talk about the world around us. Specifically, how we talk about the economy, about hard times.
Oh, this one hit home for Neil because it is so normal. It's almost our default social script. You go to a coffee shop, you get in a cab, and the small talk is almost always about how expensive gas is or how the market is down.
It's a form of social bonding, complaining together.
It is. But Wattles just says, never speak of times as being hard or of business conditions as being doubtful. Full stop.
He's incredibly strict about it. He basically says, look, times may be hard for people on the competitive line.
The ones who think it's a zero-sum game fighting for scraps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But times are never hard for you if you are on the creative plane.
Okay, let's really dig into that, because that sounds almost delusional to the average person. If the economy is in a recession, isn't it in a recession for everybody?
Well, statistically, maybe. But practically, no. If you're on the competitive plane, you're fighting for a slice of an existing pie. So if that pie shrinks, like in a recession, of course times are hard. There's less to fight over.
Makes sense.
But if you're on the creative plane, you aren't fighting for the pie. You're in the kitchen baking a new one. You create what you want from the formless. The supply is infinite.
So when you talk about hard times, what you're really doing is you're validating the idea of a limited supply.
You got it. You are acknowledging that the competitive plane is the only reality. And the moment you accept that reality, your creative power it shuts down. You switch from being a creator to being a competitor.
And as a competitor in a down market, you're totally vulnerable.
But as a creator, you're essentially immune.
This reminds me of something we talked about in our Stoicism series a while back, this idea of attentional control.
Yes, and the part of the brain responsible for that, the reticular activating system, the RAS.
Right, that's the filter. It's like when you decide you want to buy a red car, and then suddenly you see red cars everywhere.
Exactly. The red cars were always there.
Yeah.
But now your brain, your RAS, is tuned to that frequency. Wattles is saying hard times works the same way. You tell your brain times are hard, money is tight, business is bad.
Your brain will go out and find all the evidence to prove you right.
Like a heat-seeking missile. You'll see every for-lease sign, every negative headline, every customer who's cutting back. And you will literally filter out the opportunities.
You'll be blind to the gold mines right under your feet.
Totally blind. Not because they aren't there, but because you programmed your brain not to see them. He says you have to train yourself to see the world as something which is always becoming. It's always growing.
So what looks like evil or lack is just undeveloped potential.
That's the reframe. Instead of seeing a recession as a disaster, you see it as a chrysalis phase, a time where new kinds of value are just waiting to be created.
And practically, this means you just have to be the person in the room who refuses to join the ain't it awful club.
You have to be. When someone says, man, business is terrible right now, isn't it? You don't have to be rude or lecture them, but you cannot agree. You have to guard that mental gate.
So what do you say? I mean, if your colleague says this market is just killing us and you say, actually, I'm creating infinite abundance, they might look at you a little funny.
They might. You can be subtle about it. You can say something like, it's definitely a shifting market, but we're finding some really interesting new angles. Or there's a lot of change, which usually means there's opportunity somewhere. You pivot. You acknowledge their reality without accepting it as your own.
So the rule is you never admit the possibility of failure. Not in your speech.
Never. Because when you speak it, you give it form. You impress that thought of failure onto the substance. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Every time you say, I can't afford that, you're casting a vote for lack.
Okay, that's caution number one. Refuse fear-based thinking. But then he goes a step further into territory that I think is really challenging for a lot of modern political discussion. She says, don't blame the system.
Yes, this is where he gets into the social and political side of things. He says, essentially, don't talk about the poverty of the masses or how the government is keeping people down.
Which is fascinating because Wattles himself had a background in social reform. He was a socialist, he ran for office. He wasn't some guy who was just blind to systemic issues.
No, not at all. He was very aware. But he understood something really crucial about personal agency and how change actually happens. He argues that governments and industrial systems don't actually keep people poor.
That is a huge statement. Governments do not keep people poor.
How does he back that up?
He backs it up by looking at the flow of progress, of evolution. He says if the masses, if enough individuals started to move forward in this certain way, if they started thinking and acting creatively, the systems will be forced to change to accommodate them.
So he's flipping the whole script. We tend to think we need to change the system so individuals can thrive.
And he's saying individuals need to thrive, and that act of thriving will change the system. The individual leads, the system follows.
Wow. That puts all the responsibility right back on you. It's the ultimate internal locus of control. If you believe the system is the reason you're not successful, you've just given away all your power. You've surrendered your agency completely. You're just waiting for the world to change before you can have what you want. Wattles says, no, you succeed first, and the world will literally change around you.
So blaming the economy or the government is actually a mental trap. It keeps you on that competitive plane because you're seeing wealth as this finite thing that they are hoarding.
Exactly. If you truly believe the supply is infinite, which is the absolute core of this whole book, then no government, no monopoly, no system can stop you from creating what you want. They cannot corner the market on formless substance.
I love that. They cannot fence off the realm of thought. It's so liberating when you think about it.
It is, and we see it all the time,
Yeah.
right? People who rise from the most difficult circumstances in the most oppressive places, how do they do it? They operate on the creative plane. Wattles isn't saying oppression isn't real. He's saying that focusing on it as your excuse binds you to it.
So the fix is to realize that by becoming rich yourself, on the creative plane, you're actually doing more to solve the problem than by just complaining about it.
He says you become a citizen of another kingdom, you're operating by different laws, and when enough people do that, the old competitive systems just become obsolete, they dissolve.
Okay, let's move to the third caution. And I'll admit, this is one I personally struggle with. The trap of emergency planning.
Ah, the what-if game. The mental doom simulator.
Totally. What if the market crashes? What if I get sick? What if there's another lockdown? Wattles says, do not spend your time planning for future emergencies. But there has to be a line there, right?
There's a very important line, and we have to be clear about it. Wattles is not saying don't buy car insurance. He's not saying don't have a fire extinguisher. He's not advocating for being reckless.
Okay, good. Because that would just be foolish, not enlightened.
Exactly. He is talking about the mental obsession with disaster. He's talking about spending your precious mental energy rehearsing catastrophe. There's a world of difference between buying fire insurance once a year and lying awake every night picturing your house burning down.
Okay, that clarifies it. It's about where your mental focus is living.
Yes. When you sit there and you play the movie in your head of your business failing or getting laid off, you are using your creative power against yourself. You're visualizing failure with emotion. That's the formula for creation, just in reverse.
You're literally architecting your own downfall.
You are. And remember, the formless substance responds to the images you hold with faith. If you hold an image of disaster, even if you try to label it prudent planning, you're inviting it. You're telling the universe, this is what I expect to happen.
There's that old wisdom about borrowing trouble.
Absolutely. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. It means deal with today's problems today. Don't go into next year's calendar, find a potential problem, and drag it back into today to worry about.
We spend so much energy solving problems that haven't happened yet.
And most never do. I think I saw a study that something like 85% of what people worry about never comes to pass.
Wow.
And for the 15% that does, Wattles is confident. He says, every difficulty carries with it the wherewithal for its own overcoming.
Meaning, when the problem actually shows up, the solution will show up with it.
Yes, because you'll be in the flow, you'll be acting in a certain way, you'll have the resources, but you cannot solve tomorrow's problem with today's energy. You need today's energy for today's work. If you drain your batteries worrying about something 5 years from now, you have nothing left to execute today.
This goes right back to what we covered last time, acting in the now. If I'm worried about a hypothetical layoff next year, I'm not fully focused on doing excellent work for my client this afternoon.
And doing excellent work this afternoon is the only thing that will actually protect you from a layoff.
Boom, there it is. Action cures anxiety.
That's it. That's the phrase to remember. Action cures anxiety. When you feel that worry about the future, the answer isn't more thinking. The answer is to double down on doing today's work perfectly.
So fear really is a choice. You can choose to entertain the fear, or you can choose to do the work.
Fear is a choice. And you literally cannot create and worry at the same time. They use the same faculty, your imagination. You're either imagining what you want or you're imagining what you don't want. You can't do both at once.
Okay, let's shift to what I think is really the moral center of this chapter, the motive warning.
The insidious temptation.
Who Wattles warns against seeking power over other people. And in our world of business and, empire building, that seems so counterintuitive. We're taught to dominate markets, crush the competition. Why is this such a failure in his eyes?
Because the desire to rule is a purely competitive instinct. Think about why you'd want to rule over someone. It means you believe in a hierarchy, a pecking order. It means you think you need to control them to feel safe or important.
It's that zero-sum game again. For me to be up, you have to be down.
It's the Pharisee mindset he talks about, that desire to be called master. We see it everywhere in corporate culture. The CEO who wants 1,000 employees not to create value, but just to feel like a king.
It's just ego.
It's fear wearing an ego mask. It's the belief that power comes from making others do your bidding. But the creative mind knows that real power is power over yourself.
Power over self only. That's pure stoicism.
It is. Wattles is very clear. You have no right to apply your will to another person, even, he says, for their own good.
Yeah.
Mental coercion is just as bad as physical coercion. Trying to manipulate someone into doing what you want is a violation.
That's a hard pill to swallow for parents or managers, that feeling of, I know what's best for you, just do what I say.
But do you really? Or are you just trying to make them fit into a box that makes your life easier? You only know what's best for your vision, and you achieve it by inspiring people, by creating value, by leading, not by forcing.
He quotes that guy Golden Rule Jones, "What I want for myself, I want for everybody." Who is that?
Samuel Golden Rule Jones. He was a real person, a businessman, and a mayor in Ohio around when Wattles was writing. He was famous for running his factories based on the Golden Rule. He paid high wages, had an 8-hour day, which was radical then. He believed if you treat people with abundance, they give you abundance back.
And that's really the test for our motives, isn't it? The competitive mind says, I want this for me, and I need to make sure you don't get it.
So I can feel special.
Right. And the creative mind says, I want this amazing thing for myself, and I want you to have it too, because there's plenty for all of us.
It's value over domination.
That's the key. Are you trying to dominate a market or serve a market? Are you trying to control your team or empower them? The energy is completely different. One is draining, the other is expansive.
Let's really hammer this distinction home, the competitive versus the creative mind. Because I think it's easy to nod along, but we don't realize how often we slip back into competition. It's the default setting for our whole society. School, sports, the rat race. We're trained from birth to look at the person next to us as a threat to our success.
So the competitive mind is always looking to dominate, to hoard. It's driven by fear and scarcity.
Right. It sees a competitor and thinks, I hope they fail so I can get their customers. It sees a colleague and thinks, I hope they mess up that presentation so I look better.
Whereas the creative mind is focused on creating new value, on collaboration, on expansion. It's driven by faith and abundance.
The creative mind sees a successful competitor and thinks, wow, look at them. That proves there's a hungry market. I'm going to create something even better or different, and the whole market will grow to support both of us.
It's that infinite game mindset. There's a Stoic connection here, too, with Epictetus.
The dichotomy of control. Epictetus said some things are up to us, some are not. Our own mind, our own actions, up to us. What other people do, their opinions, the economy, not up to us.
And trying to control what's not up to us is a violation of nature.
And a total waste of energy. When you try to will someone to change or will the universe to give you something through force, you're just fighting reality. Wattles says, use your will on one person only, yourself. Use it to keep your own thoughts focused. That's a full-time job right there.
It really is. I don't have time to control my own mind and try to control someone else's.
Exactly. The boundary is clear. Lead by attraction, not coercion.
Okay, let's make this super practical. 3 specific examples. Let's see how this plays out when the rubber meets the road.
Let's do it. Let's start with a business scenario. Say you own a small business and the market takes a dip. Sales are down 20%.
Okay. The competitive, fear-based reaction is immediate panic.
Right. The competitive mind sees the pie shrinking. It thinks the money is vanishing. So you start slashing prices, destroying your margins. You cut quality to save a few pennies. You start running desperate-sounding ads.
And that energy is just frantic. I've got to get mine before it's all gone.
And customers can smell that desperation a mile away. It repels them. It's like dating, right?
Yeah.
Desperation is the ultimate turnoff. You see a desperate business and you wonder, what's wrong here?
So what does the creative play in action look like in that exact same situation? Sales are still down, bills are still due.
First, you refuse to panic. You refuse to speak of hard times. You remind yourself that money is just an exchange of value, so you focus on value-first offers. You ask, what new problem does my customer have in this new environment, and how can I create a brilliant solution for it?
So instead of trying to grab cash, you focus on giving more value.
Yes. You maintain that impression of increase. You project confidence. You create something new, something better. You focus on expansion when everyone else is contracting. And that makes you a magnet because people want to do business with winners, not victims.
Love that. Okay, example 2. Career.
Let's say you're an employee and there are rumors of layoffs flying around.
The fear reaction is pretty obvious.
Gossip. Trying to make your colleagues look bad to make yourself look better. Hoarding information. Sabotage, even. You start playing survivor in the office.
Which is pure competitive playing and toxic.
And it makes you miserable. And, ironically, it makes you more likely to get laid off because you're a drag on the team's morale.
So what's the creative playing action?
You focus on skill building. You focus on more than filling your present place. You ask, how can I be so valuable today that I become undeniable? You focus on contribution, not panic.
Do today's work perfectly.
That's it. Do today's work perfectly. If you do that, with a spirit of increase, you are protected. Even if that company goes under, you've built a reputation and skills that will get you a better job somewhere else instantly. Your security is in you, not the company.
That's real security. Okay, number 3, relationships. This one gets tricky. Say you're in a conflict or you're trying to change your partner.
Oh, we've all been there. If only they would just.
The competitive reaction is control games.
Manipulation, the silent treatment, withholding things to get your way, nagging. It's all just an attempt to force your will onto someone else,
It's saying, you need to change so I can be happy.
which never, ever works. It just builds resentment.
So the creative plane action in a relationship is what?
Calm speech, cleaner motives. You refuse to coerce. You focus on being the best version of yourself to inspire them. You hold a vision of a happy relationship, and you live into your side of it. You treat them with an impression of increase. You see the best in them, even when they're not showing it.
Create. Do not compete.
Yes, you don't compete for power in the relationship. You create a space where you both can thrive. And often, you find they rise to meet you there. Or the relationship ends, but it ends peacefully because you've simply outgrown the old dynamic.
It's leading by example.
Beautifully put.
Okay, I want to run through a few common mistakes, some stumbling blocks that Wattles points out.
Let's do it. Quick fire.
Mistake 1, waiting for the perfect time to act.
The procrastinator's excuse. The fix is simple. Do all that can be done today. The perfect time is always now.
Mistake 2, talking about past poverty or financial struggles.
It seems harmless, but you're keeping that old image alive. The fix. Guard your speech. Only speak of advancement. Let the dead bury their dead. Leave past lack in the past.
Mistake 3, envying the success of others.
Envy is the ultimate competitive poison. It screams, there's not enough. The fix. Realize supply is unlimited. Their success is proof that it's possible for you. Bless it. It's evidence, not theft.
Mistake 4, trying to will things to happen, staring at the phone to make it ring.
That's magical thinking, not science. The fix. Use your will only on yourself to keep your own thoughts and actions aligned. The phone will ring as an effect of your cause, not because you're staring at it.
And mistake 5, worrying about how future obstacles will be overcome.
Paralyzing. How will I pay for that in 10 years? The fix. Trust that the way will appear when you get there. You only need to see the next 20 feet of road to drive across the country.
Guard your speech strictly. Refuse to discuss failure. It's all about that mental hygiene.
It is. You wouldn't skip brushing your teeth. Don't skip brushing your mind.
Okay, I want to do something a little different. We've talked a lot of theory. I want to give everyone listening a way to snap back into this mindset right now. We all drift. So let's do a guided exercise. Let's call it the creative plane reset.
I love this idea, a tactical reboot for the brain.
So wherever you are, just take a second, unless you're driving, of course, and just mentally follow along. This will be quick.
Let's start. Step 1. Identify one fear story you keep replaying. What's the negative loop in your head right now? I'm going to run out of money. My business is failing. Just see it clearly.
Got it. I've got mine.
Okay. Step next. Replace it with a creative statement you can live today. Not a fantasy, but a truth about your intention. So instead of, I'm going to run out of money, maybe it's, I am creating value today. Instead of, I'm going to lose my job, it's, I am advancing in my skill.
I am creating value today. That feels really grounded, actionable.
Step next. Choose one today task. One small, concrete action that moves you forward. Sending one email, writing one paragraph, making one call, something small.
Something you can do in the next hour.
Yes. Step next. Choose one sentence you will refuse to speak for the rest of the day. Your go-to complaint, I'm so tired, this is impossible. Identify it and put a mental muzzle on it.
Okay. And what's next?
Choose one sentence you will speak instead. An affirmation of growth, something simple. Things are moving forward. I am grateful for this. I am solving this.
And finally,
just close with a feeling of gratitude and calm certainty. Take a breath. Feel the shift. You just moved yourself from the competitive plane of fear to the creative plane of faith and action.
opportunity is infinite.
And you are ready to receive it. Stay on the creative plane.
That reset is so powerful, and you can do it in under a minute, anywhere.
It changed the whole trajectory of your day. And if you change enough days, you change your whole life.
We've covered so much. This defense strategy is really what holds everything else together. Without it, you're just spinning your wheels. Let's recap the main points just to lock it all in.
I can break it down. 7 key takeaways.
Let's hear them.
First, refuse to blame systems or governments. Focus on your own creative power. You change first. Next, never speak of hard times or admit the possibility of failure. Your words program your reality. Next, do not seek power over other people. Mastery is for yourself. Coercion is a competitive trap. Next, replace the competitive mind with a creative mind. Seek to add value, not just take it. Next, do not plan obsessively for emergencies. Handle today's work with faith. Next, guard your speech and tone to reflect only advancement. Bring the energy of increase into every room. And finally, trust that the path will open as you move. You don't need to see the whole staircase, just the next step.
It's such a rigorous discipline. It's so much more than just think happy thoughts. It's like a mental boot camp.
It is. It requires constant vigilance. Wattles said that thinking in the certain way is the hardest work in the world. But the payoff is a life of freedom.
We are getting so close to the end of this series. We just have one more session left.
The grand finale.
Episode 11 is going to be the summary of the science.
This is where it all comes together. We're going to bring every single thread, gratitude, vision, will, action, the cautions we talked about today, into one cohesive final map. It's the whole system in a nutshell.
I can't wait. This whole journey has been so transformative for me just in talking it through. It forces you to really check yourself every day.
It does. It's a powerful reminder that we really are creators if we can just get out of our own way.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.